Alright, so back in probably September, October, maybe even early November, I happened to be driving on my way to work and saw this out at the curb. So anybody that knows me knows that I can't not pick something like this up. So this is a Craftsman Professional 190cc, so you can see it there, 6-speed 21-inch cut mower. And so I was a little like skeptical because it looked just about as clean as it is right now. Right now it's in January. Actually today's February 1st. But so I brought it home, and first thing I did was look in the gas tank, and there was no gas. So I'm like, well, this could be really good or really bad. So I threw some gas in it, pulled it twice, and it literally started right up. But within a few seconds of it starting, I noticed the problem, why it was at the curb. It was smoking like crazy, leaking oil, and so that was it. So I shut it down, got to looking into it, and realized it was the oil pan gasket, or the oil sump gasket. And you can already tell, I've already taken this apart, but you can already tell my gasket, I put a new gasket on, and my seal, put a new seal in there with some, I want to say this JB Weld gasket sealer stuff. So I've already taken it apart. I should have made a video of that, but I didn't. So I've already taken it apart. I've had this thing flipped over. I've had the motor off of it. Did a quick wipe down on the deck. I mean, it's like that's the worst scratches there are on the whole thing. So I mean, it's really clean. But today, what I'm going to do is, in putting everything back together, the cable that engages it into gear broke. I mean, it broke clean off down in there. So this one runs down the handle and goes into the back of the deck, which will engage the gears. And then this cable here is the one that will select the gear that you're in, 1 through 6. So in just a minute, I'm going to set the camera up, and then we're going to replace this. I've got to do something else on the bottom of the deck as well. So we're going to see how this works. Never done a video like this before, so we'll see how this works. Alright, so here we are. I got it flipped upside down on its side. And so the broken cable again goes through the back side. I've already got the top of that unhooked. You can just kind of see it dangling there. And underneath of here, there comes in, get in there. You can see it coming from that hole there. Comes over. It's going to be kind of tough to get to, but it goes into here. And I don't know if I can get in there very good with this camera. But at the tip of my finger is where the end of this goes in. So I'm going to see if, yep, I've already pulled that end out. And in there is an adjustment that I need to get some tools to get to. So let me see if I can lock this in place here. And keep things together. Get a better shot at this. So on the inside of the cable, back in there is a little piece that you pinch and pull through. Now on this particular mower, this is plastic, which does some covering of different things underneath there, which I may show you in just a minute. But in order to get that, I don't know if this is going to be very good camera work or not. I'm trying to do two things at once here, but let's see if I can get the light just right and be able to catch that. I don't know if I can. Again, this is my garage, not some shop. So, doing the best with what I've got. Hopefully, somebody just like me is out there doing the same thing, or at least trying. So, my light not going to work now? Of course. That angle's not going to work either. That may help. So basically what I'm shooting for is right at the tip of my thumb. And again, you get a pair of pliers back there, where these two tabs are, pinch them, and it'll remove that from this bracket. At the tip of my finger, there's a bracket right there. So that's what I'm going to try and do. And hopefully we can get this done together. By the way, there was one screw that was holding this on right through here. So I took that out and as a way to get to that, and I'm still being proved as this is going to be tough to do the way that I have it. So in here with this plastic pan, I may just go ahead and take that screw out to be able to bend this down to get a better angle on this. So let's do that. It's a 3/8. Very small. Just might do it. So now I can get my hand back underneath of there, hopefully with the pliers, to pull out what we need to replace. I almost said there'd be days like this. It is not wanting to do it. I got a different idea. If you look on the bottom of this bracket here, there's 2 bolts. I'll be able to do this a little bit easier. Again, these are 3/8. And this should be able to maneuver around that. Just hook this. Lift up, kind of spin. And it should pull that whole cable, if I wanted to, pull it right out. Now, we got enough slack to really pinch this and push it through. So just like that. So once that's out, then we can come to this side. I should be able to just pull that whole cable right out. It was in the zip tie right there. So that's out. And now, while we've got this way, I'll get my new cable. Feed the new cable back through. It's going to be kind of squirrely because this was kind of wound up inside of a envelope in the Senate. Let's see. Yeah. So this is the bracket that goes back in, and so basically it needs to be fed. I think the way that I took it out was this way here. On this side, make it a lot easier. pull this through. So your bracket is going to sit just like this on top of here, these two bolts. And so what we need to do is we need to feed the wire through there, your sheathing of that cable, and then your bottom part of your cable through this hole here, and kind of pull the whole bracket, the whole thing back, and feed your wire into the spots that it needs to go. So let's push that through until it snaps. Can't come back out of there. Then you take this wire, if you have to, push it back in there the way it sits. Then feed it over the axle and wiggle it into place. Making it sound really easy, but it's just a matter of letting it do what it needs to do. Then the two bolts back into their spots. To me, this was probably the easiest way to do this. Feeding the cable back through the way that I did. Now, for this hole right here is where this sits, so that it can pull this tension back around. So this gets to be fed in to its hole. And your cable should have enough slack on it to be able to pull that back through. With that, now it's back in. So when you go to pull that cable, when you pull your lever up on the handles, it's going to pull the tension here to engage the belt on the bottom side. So now what I'm going to do is I'll finish running the cable up through here. Flip it back over to where we can see what we need to do here. So this might be a little tough. So we've already ran the cable through this, hooked it up on the bottom side. Here's the end that's going to go to the lever up top. I didn't necessarily want to cut the zip tie, so I think it should feed. You can weasel it back through there without cutting the zip tie, without having to buy a new one or go get one. It'll slide through there, come up nicely, and then the other part, which I've already taken off because it had broken, is this bracket here. And this bracket mounts real nice and neat right here. And so let me get the screwdriver and we will work with this before it's mounted. So on this bracket, you got a total of 6 screws there. And so there's a little window here, which I'm guessing you could probably use to adjust the tension on the cable that we just put in. So this little window will pop out. But in order to do what we need to do, we have to take all of this off. I've already taken this off. So I got the cable out. This cable is actually 50, I think, measures about 54 inches. I think the new one was 50, almost 55, but it was not a replacement from MTD. It was just another one of those parts dealers on Amazon, I think, for it was right around $12 or something. So take these 6 screws out. And this is what we're left with. So you can tell right here is the leftover cable that was broken. I didn't take that all the way out. So in order to get this out, you can take this whole handle if you want. Pull that out of your way. It sits nice and neat right there, so you can't really mess that up. Set this aside for a second. So in order to get this out, this is really easy. Take it here, line it up, and you can pull the barrel right out of its hole. Our new cable. This, again, I've not done this, so I'm not like a mastermind mechanic, but I'm believing that this cable has to be ran under the your controls on the whole handle, and where it will tuck in like this, rather than coming up and over the handle on the mower. It's going to come underneath. This whole bracket that we just took apart, this mounts on this part of the handle, so everything sits nice and neat here. And I'll show you the finished product here once we get to it, but this is where it's going to kind of get a little bit hairy, because these handles, they got to go in one way so that everything functions right. Let's see if I can move it over here, see it from the side, or from the front rather. See if we can see what we're doing. So the cable that we are replacing, again, is going to come in about right in here. Here's the top of that, so when it's all said and done, it'll sandwich in here, like this. And we also have to hook up this cable, because when I took everything apart, you have to take that cable off. So we're going to take this one here, and again, the barrel of this is going to slide in this way. It's on the bottom side of the handle. Bottom side is going to slide in. And then it'll be in its spot. So there's no way it can really jump out unless you spin it back to that spot. Once everything's said and done, this is going to sit here. You squeeze this, pull that cable to make that part that we just were working with, to put it into place. So this part then is going to sandwich here. And this part of the cable here, you can tighten this underneath of here with your fingers to get that the tension on this cable correctly. So that's why they leave you that window. So I'm going to have to do this kind of off. The rest of it is just kind of buttoning it up, and I need both hands. I don't want to waste your time, so I'm going to kind of jump forward, and you'll see the finished product in just a minute. Okay, so I kind of lied. Instead of seeing the finished product, I think this is kind of important for you to see. Inside, this is the mower is on its side. This is the underneath side of the handle. This is the cable that I have replaced. This one is the gear selection. I don't know if you can see, there's little teeth here that kind of slide around to what gear it is currently in. And so this is kind of important. When you go to take all this out, this cable here, it has to be in its spot, which slides in between. Let's see if I can just pull this off to show you. So much like the other one, the barrel kind of slides in, but it's important that this cable slides in here. There's a groove right there. So if this is off and your cable is like biting the teeth, it won't work properly. So that has to be in its spot for sure. This piece of metal right here comes out if you're not careful. It'll come out. Keep that pushed in there, and then it's kind of a pain the way that they did all of this. They want it to be like, super duper easy to work. Well, it does work, but if you take it out, it's kind of spring loaded. And if you take it out not the right way, and if you're doing what I'm doing, trying to replace these, it is kind of a pain. I don't know why they did it this way. So this has to be down in its spot. There's teeth there. It has to slide all the way down, this piece of metal. So while you're holding that, while you're holding this piece, somehow, I'm no professional. Somebody else is going to comment on this video and tell me how wrong I'm doing it. Go ahead. But as this goes, you can see there's different notches here where your cable has to sit. Those notches are important for that cable to sit in place. This squeezes back in, locks into place. Let's see if I got that right. Doesn't seem right, but it's going to work right. Did I do that right? Double check. Yep. No other way around that. Let's go back to square one here. Cables are still in place. Metal tab, which clicks as you select it in the gear. Now, this cable that we replaced, the metal bracket that's back here has teeth that come up alongside, and it's important that it sits there. Now that you've got everything kind of gingerly together, you can put this on, but not before. They have a process here. Not before all this slides just like this over the handle and gently in place. It'll kind of snap together, and then something's not right. Why isn't that right? One more piece of inspection. Alright, note of importance. So if we're just going to go back here, take this off. You'll see this little 3-tooth gear here. On the back side, I didn't realize this. I was having a little trouble putting it back on. The back side of this 3-tooth gear. So those have to meet up in the right space, the right way. So if you're thinking like me and you look at it and it doesn't look right, spin that around until it sits down right on those gears. And then it'll go back together. So let's try this again. Again, I was having problems with it. It's not hard if you take your time, focus on it here. Guys like me trying to make a video and do the work, it's a little tougher that way. Spring goes there. Now as you're holding this, you can slide your teeth here. If you pull this, give yourself a little bit of slack on this piece so that your gears will fit, or your cable will fit together. Take your handle, and again, remember your barrel slides in and then it will pull around. Let's slide that into place. Oops. Man. Okay. So how are we looking? Everything's all together here. This needs to come back here, fit in its place. Now, the tricky part is just holding this together, sliding it up into place, and putting your pieces back on so that nothing flies apart on you. Now everything's meeting back up. Everything feels much better. Let's get a couple screws in this thing. Sorry about the poor camera work and the poor mechanics. Again, I'm no professional. I'm just trying to save myself some money. Like I said, the earlier part of this video, you got to remember, I pulled this thing off the curb. Somebody else wasn't willing to do this. And it really hasn't been the end of the world. It's easy. It's not hard to do. It just takes a little bit of time. And today's my day off from our real job, so I decided to do something fun and make a video about this. So again, there's 6 screws here. Two more. and we'll see how it works. Okay, so here it is, all back together. This is the curb pickup. I was telling you about at the beginning of the video. Got the cables all installed where they need to go up in the lever. The levers are all good. This one now will click into gear the way that it needs to. Tension is good. So give her a start. Actually, I didn't show this in the beginning part of the video, but it actually, when I picked it up from the curb, it actually had the bag with it. So let me see if I can do this really quick. Throw the bag on there, we'll start it up, see if it moves. Also, when I had everything apart, of course, to do the when I did the gasket on the bottom side of the engine, I actually put had to put new motor oil in it and everything like that. And the oil that was in it was actually really clean. So it was a pretty good deal, I think. Pretty good curb find. There it is. Fixed it up. Curb fine. Goes in gear and out of gear fine. So coming to a Craigslist post near you. Thanks for watching.